Here we go, West Ham, who have got one of the best away records in the Premier League this season. 4 wins on their travels, 1 draw and only 2 defeats. Squawker Dave, should we be worried about this team on the road?
I think we should do. I think they're a team that plays with pace on the counter-attack. Away from home, they've recorded 48% average possession, so they do like to play on the counter-attack against City, against Liverpool, against Arsenal. They sort of defended very deep, scored some goals from set pieces, and then scored a few decent goals. Victor Moses against Man City was a brilliant strike, so we've just got to be wary of them breaking on the break. The thing that I wouldn't worry about, though, is Slav Bilic. He's a manager that's come to the Premier League that people have thought, oh yeah, he's the next big thing. But if you look at his records at Besiktas and Lokomotiv Moscow, you'll see a peak at the start of his managerial tenure, where the first 11 games he'll be top of the league at Lokomotiv and at Besiktas. He was top after the 10-game mark. And then the form absolutely plummeted. So for me, we're playing West Ham at the right time when they just started to fall a little bit. So hopefully we'll get the 3 points.
All right. Adam, should we be worried about them breaking on the break?
I think Payet will be a big miss for them. I've enjoyed watching him this season, and I think he was key for their good form. I think a lot of what he did was opening up the bigger teams, especially away from home for them. They've got some big victories. But I am more confident, as Squawker Dave says, they're coming into the right time to play them. I think they drew the last game out against West Bromwich Albion at home, and they haven't been doing too well recently. So hopefully we've got them at the right time. United at home. I just hope they don't sit back too much, because that's when they got the opportunity to hit you on the break.
Yeah.
If they sit back and we play anything like we have been doing recently, it took us a while to break down West Bromwich Albion at home. Jesse Lingard broke it down for us, really. And then same with PSV Eindhoven as well. So there's always the chances of us getting frustrated, but hopefully we've got a bit more about us on Saturday.
Okay, Gaz, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, that's a struggle, what Adam just mentioned. Then I would have actually preferred, we needed to get that win at Leicester. I think that would have really helped us, because this game against West Ham is going to be very, very difficult, because they will sit back. They will have 11 men behind the ball, or 10, and then Andy Carroll up top like the donkey that he is. We really struggle to break down teams like that. And I think that's what they will be happy to go to Old Trafford and do, play absolutely crap football. But honestly, I think they might get the draw.
All right, well, against Leicester, we played 3 at the back. Do you think that's what we should do again, Gaz?
You know what? I don't even think it was too bad. And I think that Howson has mentioned in the past as well, when he said that it's not so much about the formation sometimes, it's about the style of play. And although I don't want it to be a permanent formation, because most of the time I've seen it, we've been awful. I don't think we were absolutely crap against Leicester. But it's really disappointing that we didn't get the result there, because obviously they're not the type of team that would just sit back. And I thought that we would have had more chance of getting a win there than we actually do against West Ham at home.
Dave, you've got some stats, I suspect. The back 3, do you think it works?
You've got to put it in the bin for me. It's a specialist formation. Yes. You need wing backs, the likes of Ashley Young we saw against Leicester City. He just got so exposed defensively. It's not his fault that he's getting exposed like that on the counter-attack that Leicester City scored from our corner. United should have taken more responsibility as a team to defend that corner. They know that Leicester have got such pace. So leaving Darmian and Ashley Young to defend the counter-attack for me was completely wrong. And I just feel that a wing-back, you need to be so energetic. You need to be like the likes of Cafu, the likes of, maybe Patrice Evra in his prime. But these are prime defenders that are brilliant going forward, brilliant defensively. And for me, it just doesn't work right now. Playing Darmian at the right, going forward, he looks poor. Ashley Young defensively, it's all wrong for me. Also, and 3 at the back as well. You're lacking with attackers. So you've got, you look at United against Leicester at points. We had 3 players in between Leicester's 2 banks of 4. It's just completely wrong. We need to throw more bodies forward, less at the back. It's a waste of time for it at the back.
It's also incredibly, I know I said we were okay at Leicester, but I completely agree that I don't like the formation. We shouldn't be going forward with it. But it's also difficult for the centre-halves as well, because obviously we have a lot of English centre-halves, a lot of young centre-halves that aren't necessarily, that they're not used to playing with 3 at the back. It completely changes their mentality completely. If they're not used to playing it, they're not used to what they're actually going to do.
I think the 3-5-2 worked well against Leicester, I think. The goal was the only opportunity that they had. I think the reason we set up 3-5-2 was to stop those kind of opportunities happening. We've seen how good, Riyad Mahrez, and of course, Jamie Vardy has been. And it was that one opportunity that they got where Ashley Young had gone. Our 3 centre-halves were in position, but Ashley Young, I think he was on the break. And it gave them that opportunity. Leicester City have scored an awful lot of goals this season. And we only conceded that one goal. They didn't look like scoring many more, but I think that was our problem going into the game. Last season, we went there very cavalier. You score, we score, you score, we score. And I think at this time, Manchester United fans would rather see us lose 5-3 than see us draw 1-1 in the manner that we did at the King Power Stadium, which is crazy. But that's not to excuse the way we're playing. And I think the main thing is in the final third for Manchester United. We've got to get it right there. Two defensive midfielders. Whether we play 3 at the back, 4 at the back, I think the main thing for me is 2 defensive midfielders. Sacrifice one of them. Get an extra man in the final third. It gives us an extra option when we're on the ball and attacking, and hopefully it will bring a bit more pace to our game.
Right, moving on. Gaz, what would be your team to place? What would be your team to play West Ham? What would you do about the back 3? Who are you playing where?
So I'd play a back 4, to be honest. Obviously, this is going to be interesting with the injuries that we've got. I'm presuming that Marcus Rojo is out injured. Some post from his wife on Instagram, I think, as well, sort of give it away. So I'm guessing that Rojo's injured. So what I've done is I've put Darmian at left back, obviously Dave in goal. Darmian at left back and Paddy McNair at right back, with Smalling and Blind as the 2 centre halves. Obviously, we've got to be really careful that Andy Carroll doesn't drift onto Daley Blind at all during the game going for a header, and I'm sure that Chris Smalling won't let that happen. Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin as the 2 centre midfielders. And then I've put Marshall on the left, Mata on the right, and Wayne Rooney playing behind Memphis. I feel like Memphis, one of the key sort of negatives about his game, and it's something that the Old Trafford crowd hate to see as well. They hate to see a winger that isn't willing to track back. Yeah. And I feel like if we put him up front, he doesn't have to rely on that. And he just has a one-track mind then of just, I need to score goals. And I think that that'll do him a lot of good like it did at Watford.
Okay. Dave, what about you?
So similar sort of defence, but I'm going to position my players in a different way. So David De Gea in goal. I'd like to see Darmian at right back, even though he's not doing so great going forward. I think we need a bit more solidity at the back with the likes of Andy Carroll and Sacco potentially playing up front. Quite physical centre forward. So I'm going to go with Paddy McNair and Smalling at the back. I think Paddy McNair was so good against Leicester for me. He was dominant in the air, brilliantly composed on the ball, and Smalling, what else can we say about him? He's just been unbelievable this year. No Man United players made more interceptions in the Premier League than Chris Smalling. And then I'm going to throw Daley Blind at left back. I think he'll give us a little bit more than what Rojo does. Obviously, Rojo's out injured. It's a little bit more going forward in terms of ball playing. My midfield, I'm going to go with the midfield 4. Mata on the right, he's been pretty brilliant when he's played. Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger in central midfield. Ashley Young on the left. And then I want to go with Eminem up front, Memphis and Martial. I think that Memphis has struggled playing on the left for Man United so far with his inability to track back, like Gary said, in terms of keeping Van Gaal's system. But I feel that you've got to free these players on the counter attack, and Memphis isn't being freed at the moment. So the only free position in this team for Louis Van Gaal is this striker role. So whatever they do, whether it's Martial behind Memphis or Memphis behind Martial, maybe a 2 up top with those 2 just interchanging, get some fluidity there. I feel that Martial's been a bit isolated of late. No attackers really getting involved with him. So playing 2 up top, that'll give us a lot more ability in the final third.
Okay.
Also, Dave, just to save us from the comments when they eventually come in, we're presuming that Ander Herrera is injured. I'm sure that he would have been in both our teams if he was.
Correct, I would have put him in for Bastian Schweinsteiger. I think Schweinsteiger...
Lads, you're assuming Marcus Rojo's injured. Rojo's back, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, him and Jesse, I think, are back in.
I'd rather see Daley Blind at left back. He's more Marcus Rojo for me. Sometimes he's a headless chicken. He doesn't know what he's doing. He lacks composure. Daley Blind might not have the pace. May have a little bit of weakness in terms of getting turned, ball going over his head. But Marcus Rojo is just an absolute nightmare to have in your team. You can't control him.
I agree with you, Dave, in the sense that he is a bit of a headless chicken at centre half. But I'd play him at left back because I think Memphis has suffered more since this happened. Since we lost Luke Shaw, our football has been poor, and I think he did give us an extra option in attack. He was pulling defenders out of position, giving Memphis bags of space down the left as well. And I think having a fullback who naturally is good in attack, like Darmian hasn't been good in attack. We've lost Luke Shaw, and our attacking hasn't been as good. So maybe that there could be something in the fullbacks. And Marcus Rojo has been playing well since he's returned, I've felt.
Okay, fair enough. Right, let's talk about West Ham. Gaz, Payet's out. Who else is going to cause us problems?
Sorry, what did you say then?
I said Payet is out.
Payet's out.
Obviously. Yeah. Who else is going to cause problems?
I think that we need to worry about Andy Carroll. He's the one. He's the one that everyone talks about, and he's the one that he's actually been in really poor form, to be honest, recently. But we all know what his strengths are. He's only really got one, and that is big bonce. So if he gets his head on anything, it can cause problems, especially if, like I say, he drifts onto Daily Blind. But hopefully we can deal with him. I'm sure that Chris Smalling will be able to do it. And like I say, to be honest, there's no real threats going forward because I do think they're going to sit 11 men behind the ball and defend all game. Hopefully not, because I think that we'll struggle to break them down completely. But I think we've got to worry about them as a defensive unit. And I just feel like we're going to get a draw.
Okay. Dave, what do you think?
Well, so obviously, Memphis. Dimitri Payet is a massive loss for West Ham, the top chance creator in Europe's top 5 leagues during 2015.
Wow.
In fact, in the Premier League this season, he's created twice as many chances as any other West Ham player. So he's the big loss, and I feel that they're not going to be as creative. But one area that we could look at is the West Ham left back. Aaron Cresswell's got pretty decent delivery from wide areas. No defender in the Premier League's got more assists than him this year. So Gaz, again, talking about the with Andy Carroll, that could be something. We need to close down the fullbacks when they get to these the crossing areas. We need to stop the cross before it comes. Another player that we could look at is Lanzini. He's a little bit of form recently. Scored a cracker against Spurs. Looked dangerous again against West Brom, but he still, for me, doesn't give the same sort of attacking output as Dimitri Payet. He does drift in and out of games. So 2 players there. I'd say Cresswell close him down and Lanzini get a little bit tight to him, get in his face, and we'll be all right.
Oh, Dave, your stats just do it for me, mate.
Adam, who do you think we need to worry about, or has it all been said now?
Gaz, David, bloody talking too much, said my man, Lanzini.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and he is your man. Right then, Adam, you can go first. What will the score be?
Manchester United are going to win. We don't score more than 2 these days, do we? 2-0 United.
Okay, Dave.
We'll go 3-0 United.
Gaz.
Wow.
Bold, yeah.
My heart says 1-0. My head says 0-0.
So what are you saying?
0-0.
0-0. Then I'll say
God.
I'm going to go 2-1 to the Manchester United. Right, guys, thank you very much for joining us on Skype. Everybody else, let us know what you think about the formation, what you think about concerns over West Ham. Should we be worried about that team coming to Old Trafford? And anything else you'd like to talk about, get it in the comments below. And we will see you all next time. West Ham pick the teams. Anything could happen. Who the hell knows who's fit or injured? Adam, how you feeling?